Welcome one, welcome all to Pit Road Productions. It's time once again for some fun multi-class racing between Porsche Cups and Toyota GR86s. It's round 3 of the Washington DC Region SCCA Virtual Racing League, and we have jumped across the pond to Europe for this third round, racing at the Hungaroring. It's a fantastic track for these kinds of slower classes of car, and I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of racing we're going to see over 30 minutes with 0 pit stops required. Lot of multi-class action coming here, and bringing it to you live is myself, Reese Gardner, with Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box, also producing behind the scenes. Zippy, it's been a while since we've done a broadcast at the Hungaroring. I'm glad that we're back.
Yeah, definitely not one on the Princess approved track list, but certainly if it's anything like the racing we had last week, it's going to be absolutely insane. Ladies and gentlemen, without a doubt, some of the best racing we've seen in terms of just how close we can get it. We've definitely been a little bit spoiled here on Pit Road Productions in terms of the battles we've seen lately, but certainly let's take a look indeed and see where we've been and indeed where we're going.
Yep, we started off the season 3 weeks ago, Road Atlanta, Summit Point, playing host to round 2. We're here at the Hungaroring for round 3. 2 F1 tracks in a row. We're going to Imola next week before we take a break for a special event for round 5. Motorland Aragon playing host to round 6 before we go to Canada, Motorsport for round 7. Back to the USA, Laguna Seca, round 8. Then over to the UK for a round at Donington Park. Then VIR for round 10 before we have another special event at the end of the season. Really packed calendar, Zippy, with lots of fantastic circuits. This particular one, though, is the one we should be focusing on, and it's got a good amount of straights, actually, keeping an eye on things as they go around, but I think there's going to be some problems in the twisties. There's a lot of S-bend sections around this circuit. Notoriously, it's known as Monaco without walls on the Formula One calendar.
Yeah, certainly Monaco actually would be one of the tracks I'd love to see in iRacing. Don't get me wrong, a little bit of a mustard track, and certainly a little bit of mustard, a little bit of Marmite track, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it's historic and it's got value for that, but in terms of the actual racing, it's not really been one of the best ones in recent years. Certainly beautiful circuit as well, and also home to a lot of Formula One drivers as well. But certainly today we are here at the Hungaroring, but I think at this point as well, what do you want to do, points or sponsors first, Aries?
Let's go points. We should see how things are stacking up on the way into this third round. 2 rounds down, and Jake King is the one on top of the 911 Cup category. Only 5 points separating himself from Jack Chrissy. DJ Alessandrini missed round 1, but he dominated round 2 and has rocketed up to 5th in the standings as a result. But he's going to need another win to get ahead of King, Chrissy, Iriarte, and Kevin Zhu.
Taking a look here at the GR86s, honestly, I never expected to be quite as exciting as this, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, myself really struggled with the GR86 in my experience, but the best way I could describe it would be like GT3 levels of grip with Miata levels of performance. But Colin Denner currently leads the charge. He's cleared by about 7 points, ladies and gentlemen. It's a little bit small on my screen to read that. I do apologize if the math is wrong. Michael Montello, though, great to see him back, and indeed his brother Anthony Montello returning as well. But Michael is there in second place, 6 points clear of Franz Hansen, a WDCR regular, but Ken Housel actually missing around. We did miss him, ladies and gentlemen, but despite that, he's there in 4th place with Timothy Homan rounding out your top 5 with Jonathan Crane, both of them, actually 3 of them there on 25 points.
Yeah, quite close in the points for the GR86s, and it was an incredibly close race for the win last week at Summit Point. We might see the same thing this week. That's how things are in the championship. Before we cover the remainder of qualifying, it's our opportunity to shout out the partners, sponsors, and supporters of the Washington DC Region chapter of the Sports Car Club of America. OG Racing is the official motorsports safety gear and equipment supplier to the Washington DC region, staffed by racers for racers. OG stocks everything from helmets, driving suits, shoes and gloves to seats, data systems, and top quality brake pads from PFC, Hawk, and Paget. With over 35 years of supporting racers, OG Racing has earned a reputation for providing exceptional customer service in the industry, staffed by an expert team that ensures you have the gear you need to go fast and stay safe. Visit their 1,200 square foot warehouse in Sterling, Virginia.
It's certainly a pleasure, as always, having them on board, ladies and gentlemen. But let's take a look here at Radial Motorsport. Since 1976, Radial Tire Company has proudly served the DC area, providing quality tires and exceptional service. Renowned as the premier specialist in hard-to-find performance tires and wheel applications, they stock tires from top manufacturers, ranging from trucks to sports cars and to racing machines. Their mission is to maximize your vehicle's potential on the road and the track. Ladies and gentlemen, best bang for buck you can spend on your car is tires. Certainly, I got to call out my boss today. He's picked up a Mustang. It's a little bit of a toy, a little bit of an investment there, and it's currently got summer tires on it, and we have a little bit of winter going on right now, ladies and gentlemen. It's fair to say it was the slowest, weakest drift I have ever seen in my life, but thankfully nobody innocent was harmed in the process.
Indeed, tires are incredibly important, but for the other parts on your car, consider RP Performance. For over 30 years, RP has been at the heart of racing as a neighbor to Summit Point and standing out as the premier race car shop specializing in street and track Mazdas. In addition to track support and transport, RP is a full-service shop, helping drivers with their racing and other track event needs. Known for their helpful attitude, RP works diligently to get cars back on track, ensuring a positive experience for all at all Summit Point events. RP has accrued many wins and championships as well within various classes under the RP Performance banner. If you're looking to go faster, make sure to check out RP Performance.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Belmont Classic Cars is a family-owned dealership located in Eastern Ohio, specializing in classic American muscle cars from the 1960s and 1970s. They pride themselves on selling iconic rides and only offer cars they would want to have in their own collection. Established in 2017, the owners, Andy and Dana Mistag, inherited their passion for cars from their fathers, avid enthusiasts of Chevy and Ford vehicles. Certainly, I can understand that. My dad, a car enthusiast as well. Outside of the family business, the entire family has been involved in racing from motocross, trophy trucks, and their new endeavor of road racing. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Belmont Classic Cars.
Last but not least, Grand Touring Enterprises is an internationally recognized full-service classic automotive facility located in Frederick, Maryland, with a mission of keeping legends in motion. Their commitment to classic vehicles spans service, restoration, secure climate-controlled storage, sales, and consignment. Grand Touring also offers full collection-level consultation and management services alongside concours-level detailing. Their focus is on preserving the history and prestige of the vehicles they manage and ensuring that the driving experience is equally spectacular and authentic. If you have a legendary vehicle, Grand Touring Enterprises can take care of you. Well, a huge thanks to all the partners, sponsors, and supporters of WDCR. Without them, we wouldn't be here today bringing you this fantastic sim racing series. Qualifying still on at the moment, about 6.5 minutes remaining. Jack Chrissy on provisional pole in the 911 Cup class. Paul Darling on top in the GR86s for the moment, but the times are looking very close in both of our classes. Margin for pole in the GR86s is just a couple of tenths, and it's around about the same for the Porsches too, so be interesting to see who starts on top. DJ Alessandrini hasn't come out for a lap yet, Zippy, but I'm sure he's going to be going straight to the top of the Porsche class.
Yeah, certainly he has indeed got potential, ladies and gentlemen. So it looks like we're about to get an onboard lap with him. Reese, if you'd like to do the honors.
Maximizing the curb out of the exit of the final corner. Long start, finish straight here at the Hungaroring. In the early 2000s, the run to turn 1 was extended, so it becomes this tight hairpin. Used to just be a 180-degree sweeper. Joining at this point, it's going to be the main overtaking opportunity on the racetrack. There is a downhill descending left-hander for turn 3. You've got to keep it tight on the way out to open up the run into turn 4. You can use a lot of the curb there on the exit, but you need to be careful not to run beyond the limits of the curb. This is the most challenging corner on the circuit. This left-hander at the crest, it's really easy to run beyond that rough curb on the exit there. A long ascending right-hander to bring us around to the twisties. A chicane is the next that the drivers will have to tackle. Once again, using the curbs effectively is going to be crucial to lap time. Now, it's all about just blending the car, making sure that you keep that weight on the fronts for maximum turn and maximum rotation. Alessandrini doing very nicely at the moment on this hot lap. A fast right-hander to lead us onto what's effectively the back straight of this circuit. And it presents itself another overtaking opportunity here. A hard right to bring us into the last few corners of this circuit. One more hairpin to negotiate right here. Braking down to second gear. Stick nice and tight. And use the pit entry lane to widen your line out of the corner before bringing it back around for the final turn. A long, never-ending right-hander. You got to be so careful to get on the power at the right time, otherwise you'll understeer off. That's a lap around the Hungaroring. And for DJ Alessandrini, it is good enough for fourth provisionally.
Well, honestly, I feel that you maybe kind of shook him off his game on that one. I'd like to believe that, Reese, but certainly DJ Alessandrini, without a doubt, one of the fastest drivers we've seen here on Pit Road Productions. Indeed, has real-world experience as well. Fair play. He's almost like the Stig of WDCR, but without the accent of it's not Phil Collins, it's Phil something though.
Ben Collins.
Ben Collins, close enough, ladies and gentlemen. Phil, you know what? If you want to roast me in the chat for calling him Phil Collins, go right ahead, because that was pretty funny. But right now, I can see it coming in the air tonight.
Let's not get copyright struck.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, oh Lord is what I'm going to be saying. Oh dear. Paul Darling is setting some purple sectors in this GR86 meanwhile. He's already on provisional pole, but it looks like he might be trying to extend his margin here.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good right now, and I have a feeling, a name like Paul Darling, I get a feeling that he's maybe from the UK. Don't get me wrong, he's rocking an American flag, but the name sounds familiar, ladies and gentlemen, but we'll certainly leave it at that as he makes his way around the final corner. Indeed, good to see Paul here, and wow, this guy's packing a punch. Ladies and gentlemen, 6,035 IR. I do have to figure out exactly where we can find this information, Reese, but certainly it'd be good to find out what the top percentile is, like, you know, based on iRating. We've seen a couple of big heavy hitters coming around on Pit Road Productions, and certainly, you know, myself, around 2,700 IR, I think in open wheel will be my highest ranking, and I don't know what top percentile that would be, but Paul Darling does indeed manage to go quicker over 158.61.
Yeah, and that's quite a margin. It would appear that others in the GR86 class are expressing astonishment at that pace in the in-sim text chat. Paul Darling is clearly a level, a cut above in qualifying here at the moment. Franz Hansen coming to the end of his next lap. He's been off in all sectors so far, and it looks like, regardless, that is going to be still a 1:59.4 with his qualifying run done, it would appear. Drivers get 4 laps over 15 minutes to set their times for the grid. Charles Miller, keeping an eye on him to see if he can make it to the top as well. Currently sitting 11th in class, but setting a green in Sector 1, this could be an improvement.
Yeah, certainly he's in P11 so far. Indeed, can the 55 find a little bit more pace? He currently has a 2:01.04. Ladies and gentlemen, are we going to see an improvement here as Charles Miller brings it across the line?
No.
I don't think the lap stood.
No, I don't think it did. It's easy to get off tracks here at the Hungaroring. Oftentimes, as long as you keep two tires on the curbs, then you will be able to have the lap validated. But it seems some drivers have been pushing a little bit too far beyond that.
Well, I can see we got the one and only Ken Housel in the chat, and my question to you, sir, is where you at? Sterling himself is missing. Louis Alessi is missing as well. And how are we doing for Montellos? Yeah, okay, we got a couple of Montellos in. We're doing all right, ladies and gentlemen. We're not completely cleaned out of our WDCR regulars that we're looking for. Certainly himself. Wally Hydrojek, he's here. Mike Leader, Attaboy. Adam Koback as well. And certainly, I have a feeling we've got a couple of new names in here as well. There's a few people who I'm not recognizing, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly, it's good to see. And we did send a message to Ken and say, look, you know, I feel, well, we feel, I think you was agreeing with me on this one, Reese, that we could indeed have 2 races for these cars, both of them really popular with the drivers, and GR86 alone providing some absolutely incredible racing. Certainly, We'd love to see it, as Ken Housel is babysitting, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'm pretty sure that's how my boss feels as soon as the clock hits 8 o'clock in the morning.
That's how I feel at every show as well, Zippy. But regardless, we will see qualifying come to an end. Yeah, you know I had to get one in. DJ Alessandrini. We'll start on pole position here in the Porsches. Not as big of a gap at the front as I was expecting, considering DJ's form. Jack Chrissy, less than a tenth off his fastest time there. Jake King and Klaus Wood will start on row number 2, with Cooper Van Horn rounding out your top 5. Got Raul Iriarte of Puerto Rico alongside him. Chris Heidemann in 7th, with Adam Kobach, Mike Leader, and Wojtek Heidecek rounding out the top 10 in Porsches. There are 2 more 911 Cup cars, with Declan Ward and Richard Sawicki, neither of which set times in qualifying.
Having a look at the GR86s, that's going to be led by Paul Darling with Brent Schneekloff. Schneekloff? Yeah, Schneekloff. We're going with that, ladies and gentlemen. Committed. With he's going to be there in 2nd, with Michael Montello in 3rd. Franz Hansen, he's going to be there in 4th place, with Colin Denner taking up 5th, and Alex Nickrant taking up 6th. Definitely seems some new names in here, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic stuff. Keep them coming. We've got more names we can get wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly in 7th place, we got Jonathan Kramer with Anthony Montello taking 8th. Closing out the top 10 in 9th, we're going to have the one and only Mark McGloey with Matt Sayer alongside.
Yes, in 11th place in GR86, we got Charles Miller, Brian Taylor alongside him, with Ryan Miller and Timothy Homan 13th and 14th. Nelson Daniel in 15th alongside Albert Ngo, with Sly Stafford, Matthew Kilmurray, the last cars to set qualifying times. Antonio Diaz and Mark Labanche have not set times in qualifying, though all cars that didn't get a time in qual have set times in practice, so I expect they will all jump onto the grid. We'll have to wait and see on that, though. Lining up here on the run to the 3rd last corner. Very short formation lap on the cards here before we go racing for 30 minutes with no pit stop required. It's going to be an out-and-out sprint.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an absolute belt. And certainly Hungaroring is definitely not ringing too many bells. I know we've been here before, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm just trying to remember exactly who we've been with. Certainly, I think Reese was saying that we may have been here before with the Almeida Academy. Certainly, if you want to go faster, ladies and gentlemen, check them out. They do have the sale on right now. It's still going $25 a month, ladies and gentlemen. Gets you access to all of the content, and indeed gets you involved in the pit parties as well. And we have seen the results of that academy, and it's fair to say it works, ladies and gentlemen. Some of these people, incredibly potent on the racetrack now.
Indeed, but for now, we will focus on the crew of the Washington DC Region Sports Car Club of America. Green flag flies for the 911 GT3 Cup, and DJ Alessandrini will lead us away. Looks like a bit of a jump starting to be taken from those further back, though. Everyone was right on him there. They're 3 wide for the lead into turn 1. Alessandrini in the middle, Jake King on the inside. It's Jack Chrissy on the outside, and it's going to be between King and Chrissy on the exit of turn 1. Alessandrini falling back out of the first corner. Wasn't quite expecting that. The Toyotas, meanwhile, have gotten started, and Paul Darling has already gotten a jump over the rest of the field.
Yeah, definitely a good position to be in. Indeed, you want to try and make sure you can get single file as quickly as possible. Don't get me wrong, myself, I love a good race start, ladies and gentlemen. As you see a couple of battles happening further back. Anthony Montello already out 1 position as well. So it looks like he's going to try and make it down on the inside line, ladies and gentlemen. Already we're seeing side-by-side action. Certainly it looks like Brent Schneekloff still side-by-side here with Michael Montello as well.
Yep, side-by-side for 2nd in GR86, and side-by-side for the lead in Porsche. Jack Chrissy and Jake King still trying to fight with each other, and we cut to them just in time to see King spin out of the chicane. It looks like he was trying to go for an over-under there on Jack Chrissy, but ultimately the tires are still cold, and his car did not enjoy that power application.
From what I could hear, I think he just got a little bit of a nudge there, Reese.
Maybe he did.
Look at that. DJ.
Oh, naughty DJ. Very naughty boy. Well, he's unfortunately made that contact, and now Jake King is back down in 12th, and not to mention he also hit the tire barrier with the rear of his car, which is not very good if you're driving a Porsche. That's where the engine and the radiator are.
Well, certainly definitely not the race start that Jay King was looking for, but what I can tell you is Declan Ward, apparently racing from Hong Kong, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what time it would be there, but fair play if you are, as he's in a Cookie Monster Chips Ahoy livery. Ladies and gentlemen, this commentator loves cookies. It looks like Wally Hydercheck now getting into a little bit of a heated battle as well, and that is Raw Ariati having some scraps as well. But certainly Declan Ward up 5 positions, the hardest charger in the Porsche field. Meanwhile, let's check back in here with the GR86s. It's Colin Denner now applying some pressure to the back of Franz Hansen.
Yeah, the top 6 in our Toyota class remain the same as they started for the moment, but Colin Denner, with the run out of the final corner, picking up the slipstream on Franz Hansen, first time they've been at full speed down the straight here, is actually going to bump draft him. They don't want to lose touch with Darling, Schneekloth and Montello, so this is going to be an interesting fight indeed. Summit Point was obviously quite chaotic last week, but I think the action's going to come at a bit of a more regular pace here at the Hungaroring. Hansen now defensive.
Yeah, definitely he's got to try and keep Colin Denner behind. Indeed, the Pink Panther.
It's working nicely.
I think we've decided it's going to be that kind of show, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed. Yes. You can see there, battles happening throughout the field. Colin Denner applying a good amount of pressure. Let's check back in, though, with the GR86 Cup. It looks like Declan Ward looking to try to find his way forward past Klaus Wood, as indeed there is more battles going on. Oh, yes.
Those don't look like GR86s. They look like Porsche Cups. Klaus Wood is at the moment keeping up with that 5th place. Chris Heidemann not too far ahead of him, but the fastest time of the race so far is going to be DJ Alessandrini, 1:45.0, as he's back into second and chasing down Jack Chrissy. Cooper Van Horn is not too far behind either. We've got a proper race on for the lead here.
Well, I'm definitely down for that, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, I'm looking forward to when they make their way past the GR86 field. Speaking of which, so Anthony Montello now, he's looking pretty good here in that yellow and blue covered GR86 there. Loving the paint, ladies and gentlemen. I love myself a vibrant paint job, but currently applying a good amount of pressure here to Alex Nickeron, one of the newcomers here today. Certainly not a name that I'm familiar with, but it looks like he's having a good race so far. Just short of 2700 IR and definitely doing well so far. We'll have to see, though, if he can hold off the likes of Anthony Montello. Ooh, wiggle.
Use what little power this car has to launch yourself out of the final corner as best you can. Jonathan Crane in the purple car behind, looking for a move maybe into turn 1. We'll have to wait and see on that. He pulls out of the slipstream, looks for those braking markers about 100 meters before the corner. You brake in the GR86s, but it looks like last of the late breakers will be Anthony Montello. He's run a bit deep in turn 1 though.
Yeah, definitely the GR86. I think that's maybe why I've always struggled with it personally, the braking being so late. And certainly the grip levels from this car absolutely insane. So it looks like it's going to see a little bit of an over-under potentially here from Jonathan Crane. Certainly some great battles so far. It looks like Franz Hansen now still getting a little bit of a battle here with the likes of Colin Denner.
Yeah, these two have lost touch with the top 3, though. They will need to get the pace up a bit if they want to keep competing for the win. Maybe when the Porsches come around to lap the GR86s, they'll have a chance. It tends to break up some packs and bring others closer together. They're into the 144s in the Porsches, by the way, and Alessandrini's still looking to be the fastest of them all, 2/10 faster than Chrissy, but there's still quite a gap between them. This is one of the closest fights on track we're looking at the moment. Denner still piling the pressure on Franz Hansen when they get to the twisty S-bend part of the lap. Little tap of the brakes to get the rotation on. Momentum through the corners is so important in the GR86, and Hungaroring has plenty of corners that demonstrate that.
Yeah, certainly. It's definitely a challenging circuit indeed. That is the 2nd time I've seen Chris Heidemann there picking up a slowdown flag. A 3rd time, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly some interesting strategy applying up there. As Klaus Wood now very much under some pressure here from the number 15. But yet, despite that, we're seeing a little bit of a conglomerated field here with a couple of these Porsches. Certainly, if you look ahead, lead change, ladies and gentlemen, lead change. DJ Alessandrini now getting into it with Jack Chrissy.
Chrissy ran deep in one of the left-handers there. It was actually quite a nice drift and a great save, but it allowed DJ Alessandrini alongside. Coming out of the chicane here, Chrissy getting on the grass, and then that dirty side of his tyres sent him very wide there. Alessandrini went, "Thank you very much," to the lead for me.
Well, certainly we're going to have to see how that works out a little bit later on, as indeed things are starting to get extra spicy here in the Porsche. Declan Ward now having a battle here with Wally Hajicek in the number 26. Certainly Wally under some pressure as well. Rory Iriarty in on the action. Adam Kobach in on the action as well. Certainly these guys are absolutely duking it out. The battle starting all the way here with... well, I'd say Classwood's got a little bit of an advantage. He's about 1.1 seconds clear, but Mike Leader certainly leading that pack of cars that goes all the way down from P5 down to about P10. 5-6 car battle, as indeed Declan Ward now putting it in on the inside.
Me want position into turn 1.
That's my Cookie Monster demonstration there. But Declan Ward managing to make the run into 6th place. Still the hardest charger in the Porsche field. Thanks very much for that, Zippy. Change at the back of the pack. Raul Iriarte getting past Adam Kobach there.
So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, if anybody should not be like this for the soundboard, it's me. Certainly, and that's if I'm not talking to myself as well. But certainly having a good bit of fun here is Chris Heidemann is still applying a good amount of pressure here to Declan Ward, who's currently up 5 positions, the hardest charger in the entire field. But in the GR86 field, though, hard charger goes to Antonio Diaz. He's up 3 positions so far on the day.
Yep, working nicely at the moment. Some technical issues for the car behind him of Albert Ngo there. We'll wait and see if he can hold on to that. Franz Hansen, meanwhile, appears to have been passed by Colin Denner some time ago, and now he's starting to fall back in touch with this pack, with Alex Nickrant making the move on Anthony Montello. Let's see what they can do here. Problem for Chris Heidemann and the Porsches, meanwhile. It looks like he's had a spin.
Yeah, I have a feeling wherever he's been picking up them cut course flags, I have a feeling it's maybe going to be that corner. Certainly, I would guess one of the chicanes where you really got to use the curb. Maybe getting a little bit too flirtatious with the track limits there is Jonathan Crane. I think he's got a good exit speed there, but not really anywhere he can go. He's pretty much boxed in at this point, ladies and gentlemen. He is the meat in that sandwich, and fair play to him. Good luck passing if you can't get alongside, as indeed, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. Almost free wide there into the left-hander.
Yeah, but a late apex is beneficial here. Looks like Crane's going to try and set up a better run out of these corners as a result. This straight is a good enough length in the GR86, but not quite long enough to get a big advantage over your competition. Best you can hope for is side-by-side into this corner and round the outside for Anthony Montello. Alex Nickrant having to back out of it, and this has brought Matt Sayer and Brian Taylor right into it as well. 3 wide again.
This is getting absolutely nuts, and this is why we love having the GR86s here on WDCR. Alex Nickrant currently on the outside. I'd like to see him go free wide through the chicane. Challenge accepted, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, if anyone's going to do it, you need a nutter like me. But right now, Jonathan Crane, he's down 2 positions, but fair play to him. He's still very much in this fight. Brian Taylor now applying a bit of pressure, but don't get me wrong, Mark McCloughy, not somebody to discount either. He's right behind in the number 17.
And if you keep your eyes trained in the far distance from these rearview cameras, you might see the headlights of 2 Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars. We have DJ Alessandrini and Jack Chrissy just emerging over the crest there in the background. They're about to come out to lap these guys. It's been a solid run through the GR86 traffic so far for our Porsche leaders, but now they're going to have to work their way past a proper pack of cars. Fortuitous timing, though. The start-finish straight should be where it happens.
Yeah, certainly that's going to be where these guys are going to be hoping that DJ makes his move. Indeed, definitely wasn't going to be able to get one there. I think he was almost at that point. Oh, my word.
Oh!
Oh, yeah. Oh!
Alessandrini's caught the car there. The car in question appears to be Brian Taylor. That's unfortunate there for Brian, involved in a coming together here at the final corner. Looks like he might have gotten tapped around there on the exit. Oh, dearie me. An outside move, but unfortunately losing it. And, well, DJ Alessandrini decided he was going to go right on that incident. That ended up being the wrong decision.
Well, certainly it worked in the favor here of Jack Chrissy. He's been able to retake them lead and indeed made his way past, another couple of the GR86s. DJ Alessandrini, though, still very much into it. Is he going to go left? Is he going to go right? Certainly it is a... You're going to need more than the Pink Panther, ladies and gentlemen. I think you're going to need a good shot of caffeine, maybe something stronger, if you want to try and make your way through this field of cars.
Yeah, far from ideal circumstances for the man who's won the most here. Wally Heidecek making his way through, and he's involved in this fight with Raul Iriarte. Looks like there's just enough space there to maximize the braking into the chicane, but when you're coming up to these slower parts of the circuit, it's so difficult to actually get a run on the GR86s. There's a lot of cooperation and trust required between our classes here.
Well, it looks like Adam Koback is pretty much saying, thanks for opening the door there, Raul. I'm going to follow you through. And indeed, it looks like we've got a battle there in the GR86s as well. It's not Jonathan Crane. It's the one a bit further back. I think it might be Ryan Miller. I felt sure it was a Tom's livery, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly these guys are absolutely duking himself, Charles Miller, and indeed Timothy Homan, and Nelson Daniel, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, Mark McClure, all getting into it here. Nelson Daniel about 2 seconds back.
Yeah, Mark McLuey is... been involved in quite a bit of fighting here today. He was further up the front of the 7th place fight a bit earlier with Nikrant and Crane, but he's fallen to the back of the pack now and is trying to make his way back past Miller, and Homan, but Porsche around the outside on the exit is going to make things a bit more difficult there. Brian Taylor, for what it's worth, has suffered heavy damage, but he's managed to get back around the racetrack and to pit lane. It must have been a very painful lap. That incident happened at exactly the wrong time, after he'd already passed pit entry.
Yeah, it's definitely the most unfortunate time there. As you can see right now, Charles Miller still going at it with Timothy Ohm, and Mark McLury very much in the mix as well. These guys absolutely duking out in the Porsche field, though. Klaus Wood is very much under pressure. Declan Ward, he's now up 6 positions, ladies and gentlemen. And look at him try and make it 7 now, taking Klaus Wood off that number 4 spot.
Yeah, Declan unable to get a time down properly in qualifying, but evidently on race pace he is much more comfortable. This is a fixed setup series, so they end up running a little bit longer there on the same fuel. Actually a shorter run on the same fuel in qualifying, and with how cold the tyres are at the start of a qualifying run, it can take a few laps to really get the grip in. So Declan Ward evidently a bit more comfortable when the car has had some mileage on it. He's taken good advantage of the traffic as well. It's been looking like clean runs through it. 2 wide in the Porsches there. Raul Iriarte and Mike Leader in the middle of a GR86 pack, and Adam Koback looking to make some gains on them.
Yeah, go on, man. This is one of the reasons I love driving the fast.
Oh,
yeah,
no!
That's going wrong. That's
Wally Heidecek. Oh, yes. Iriarte going around there. I think Heidecek was in the middle of all of that as well. We'll get another view of it here. Heidecek getting into the back of him.
Yeah, definitely not quite how you want to make the pass, but certainly it worked in his favor. Fair play to him, but an interesting strategy indeed, as indeed it looks like Raul Iriarte still able to keep rolling, but now Richard Sawicki is coming to the mix, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, Richard Sawicki, the second, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to think, we got another broadcast, we've got somebody who's actually the third. We have to see where we can find the first, so we never find the original, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly they just go by their normal name, and I'm just being a tease here, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, Richard Sawicki the second, currently applying a good amount of pressure here to the number 79 car of Raul Iriarte. But don't get me wrong, Chris Heidemann, who we've seen getting into a couple of incidents earlier, he's there. Actually, let's take a look and see what happened to him a little bit earlier on.
Yes, remember we saw Heidemann falling down the order on the timing tower. We're going to find out exactly what happened to him. This is the run through the S's, and was it a case of him losing the rear? It was. Very easy to do at that part of the circuit. You got to be so precise to keep the pace up there. Fortunately, some tarmac runoff to gather him. He came away with no damage.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, we all explore the limits of grip and then maybe a little bit beyond that as well, but certainly if you're going to have it go wrong, definitely be grateful that there is a bit of runoff. As right now, taking a look here at the lead battle, Jack Chrissy has managed to stay clear by about 8 tenths per second here from your usual ringleader at the top of the pack, ladies and gentlemen, DJ Alessandrini for Lizard Brains podcast as well. By all means, check that out. Himself and Tom Gorman getting into a good couple of discussions on there as well. But right now, Alessandrini on the lapping front was only about 2 tenths per second quicker. Indeed, he's going to have to find a little bit more pace. Saying that, we still got about 14 minutes left to go.
Yep, past the halfway point of the race. Alessandrini, the faster of the two, but he seems to be taking a few more liberties with track limits as well. Colin Denner, meanwhile, fighting with Michael Montello for third in GR86. That's a big slide there for Montello, and it might send him a little bit off kilter in these final couple of corners. As long as you nail the exit, you'll be able to get the run. But Denner is close enough for slipstream.
Yeah, certainly. Now I have to wonder: are we going to see a little bit of strategy come into play here, Reese? Indeed, that's close, ladies and gentlemen. I think he's going for the bump draft at this point, and they're trying to try and catch up there to Brent Schlegelhoff, who's currently about 2 seconds clear of them. Certainly, Paul Darling as well. He's about 2 seconds clear again. Don't get me wrong, I think it's ambitious, but looking at the lap times, they are going quicker than their counterparts ahead. So certainly, if they can keep this teamwork going, they may indeed be able to find themselves challenging for the lead.
Yep, working out all right for Montello and Denner at the moment. Gap developing between our GR86 leaders there. Paul Darling has led this race from the get-go, and it would appear that they have maintained their starting positions. Brent Schneekloth, his fastest lap is a 159.6, but the fastest Paul Darling could manage was a 159.0 as the move is made. Colin Denner trying to get past Michael Montello here. This is where they could cost each other time. Montello with a better run out of the right-hander, but it's Denner who has the inside line for the chicane, and he moves ahead.
Well, I think there may be some instructions there from Colin Denner. Bump here. I would like to put a message on the back of his car, but it'd be phrased a little bit differently, ladies and gentlemen. Use your imagination for that. So, if they put it on a paint job, I'm not going to argue it. So, definitely, actually, Dylan Newcard, I see him in the chat. Dylan, you need to get back in here, get racing. I missed my comic relief. Who's on the car today? Certainly, it was a good feature we had here on WDCR and indeed on Pit Road Productions. But not only that, we had helmet cams sometimes as well. A couple of seasons we now have helmet cams. For this one, we could maybe make it happen. It's 2 cars. I'm sure we can figure something out. But right now, let's take a little bit of a look further back here. As Sly Stafford now applying a bit of pressure into Nelson Daniel. Actually, fun fact, Sly Stafford was one of the first people to join the Pit Road Productions Discord. Actually, was stumbling across that the other day. Ken Housel was pretty up there as well. But the first one ever to join it, Morgan Smith from WBM Racing, who actually also races here. Who also commentates here, sorry, on Pit Road Production.
Indeed, it's been quite the journey that we've been on over the last year or two as Sly Stafford gets up the inside of Nelson Daniel there at the second last corner, but a better run out of the corner for Nelson, has the inside for the final turn. Antonio Diaz not too far behind these guys. He will surely take advantage of this as Matt Sayer up ahead appears to have gotten a mechanical black flag. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Well, let's take a quick look here, Reese. Indeed, there's the battle that's been going on, and here's the 777 car. Once again, going around the final corner, gets a little bit too much too much of a slip there, and then a little bit of a nudge, I'd say, from Jonathan Crane. Let's take a look from a different point of view. I have a feeling he got a little bit of a tank slapper going, able to caught it, and then maybe had a little bit of a nudge right at the end.
Yeah, the GR86 has a notoriously light rear end, and that slippery curb on the inside of the final corner can induce some dramas. But I wouldn't blame Jonathan Crane for that. The slide had already started at the point he made contact. Jack Chrissy, meanwhile, under pressure now from DJ Alessandrini, and DJ's trying to make the launch happen out of turn 1. Our Porsche leaders nice and close with 10 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm going to call myself out on this one, ladies and gentlemen. I do need to fix the sponsor logo. It's definitely, I need to break myself for this, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, get on that. Certainly something happened one show, every logo decided to quit, and obviously when you're used to it working and then completely forget about it, you know, I need a kick in the rear end, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly Reese Gardner will be happy to do that. I gave him a kick in one the other day, and indeed, we're pretty good at that. Not only that, but indeed roasting each other as well. But right now, we got DJ Alessandrini now, who's pretty much giving Jack Chrissy a kick in the rear end, and also as well, Cooper Van Horn, he's managed to pick up a slowdown. Could this be an opportunity here for Klaus Wood?
Oh, I think it certainly could. The slowdown is still not clear here for Cooper Van Horn, but there's nowhere really for Klaus to get by, and the slowdown is cleared, so it looks like Van Horn will be getting back up to speed in no time at all. But the hard-charging Declan Ward is now in touch with these guys, and it's going to be a 3-car fight. Ward is pushing hard there, running beyond the curbs. He's trying to find every bit of pace he can, but I think he might be pushing it a bit over the limit.
Yeah, certainly we know what's going to happen if he does indeed keep flirting with that. But right now as well, Jake King, he had that incident early on, had a little bit of help there from the number 61 car of DJ Alessandrini. But right now, I don't think he's going to need any help. He's going to need a little bit of courage, ladies and gentlemen. He's trying to find his way here past Chris Heidemann, who's currently down 3 positions on the day, and indeed having some good battles as well. This is the battle for P10 in the Porsche Cup.
Oh, there's a dive. It almost happens there for Jake King, but evidently Chris Heidemann wise to it. He's going for the slow in, fast out into the corners. Jake King trying to make up time under brakes, but at a track with so many long corners and so many twisty sections where turns flow directly into each other, you do need to focus on exits. The straights are where you're going to make your move.
They certainly are, but in the meantime, let's check in here with the GR86 battle, and indeed we got one that goes all the way from Ryan Miller back to Timothy Homer, ladies and gentlemen. 1, 2, 3, 4 GR86s all vying for P9 in the class, and certainly having a good bit of fun in the process. You see a little bit, oh my gosh. Incredible paint there from Ryan Miller. I'm going to approve of that. It made me smile, ladies and gentlemen. You make me smile, I'll allow it. How about that? Certainly some good stuff here. It looks like Charles Miller right behind. I do have to wonder, are these guys related as well? I'd love it if we got two sets of brothers in here. Certainly would be even more fun. But Mark McLouie now, he's managed to make his way up past Timothy Homan, I believe. And indeed, Homan applying pressure still. And that pretty much rounds out that 4-car pack.
Nelson Daniel with a black flag, and Jack Chrissy is the same. Oh dear, our Porsche leader evidently falling afoul of the incident limit. He does have a bit of damage on the front end of his car, so I think there might have been a bit of contact putting him over the incident limit. He's going to jump into the pits, and that will give the lead to DJ Alessandrini.
Yeah, taking a quick look back, I can't see anything that got triggered here on the warnings, but certainly definitely a little bit unfortunate there. DJ Alessandrini, though, able to take that lead, but you've got to ask yourself, obviously we're not planning on having pit stops here, just how much of an effect is this going to have here on Jack Chrissy? That's one of the GR86s in the pits as well. That's Nelson Daniel.
Yes, he also got a black flag. So that's unfortunate for the two of them. Have to do a stop and go in the pits to clear that black flag, and well, that's going to make Jack Chrissy fall to the rear of the top 5. Nelson Daniel, meanwhile, will have to give up 16th place in GR86 to Matt Sayer. Well, the fight is on for P3 here in GR86. Michael Montello has caught up to Colin Denner, and it looks like he'll be making life difficult for him. Jake King and Chris Heidemann still fighting over 10th place in Porsche, and King gets the run around the outside of turn 1. Is there going to be a fight back here from Heidemann?
Yeah, certainly you can see that GR86 pretty much fleeing the scene at that point, saying that I want absolutely nothing to do with this, and I can't say that I blame him indeed as they're making their way pile. I think that was Richard Sawicki there as well, the second making his way past that GR86 as well. But battle's happening throughout. Cooper Van Horn though, looks like he's got Klaus Wood right up behind him, and indeed Declan Ward as well. We're going to have a freeway fight for P2 now.
Yeah, it's looking good here. DJ Alessandrini has skipped away now by 9.5 seconds over this pack, but the racing is incredibly close, and Declan Ward is monstering these curbs to try and keep the pace up. 5.5 minutes remain, and by my timing, we're only going to have 3 laps to go. So now is the time, but Jack Chrissy behind them has also picked up a black flag. It looks like incident limit is a big point of contention here today. Mike Leader and Wojtek Heidecek will both get a free position out of this.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I feel like the stewards are, I'd say it's a little bit of Michael Massimo action going on, and he's driving the Mercedes. I'm gonna go with that, and indeed, if you didn't like that opinion, by all means, you can have your own. It's wrong. But certainly some good battles going on here. As it looks like Cooper Van Horn now under even more pressure from Klaus Wood. He's been able to get alongside, and Declan Ward is going to have a front row seat of this. Can Cooper Van Horn hold on? He's currently up 3 positions. We've seen him get into some incredible battles before, but is he going to be able to hold off the likes of Klaus Wood? These guys separated by just 4 iRacing, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't get much closer than that.
Yeah, this is incredibly close between these two. One coming together, one side-by-side moment, and they will be in trouble from Declan Ward, who carries the number 1 on his car, evidently for very good reason. A little bit of traffic here coming into the chicane. Ward's going to be desperate to get past here. Oh my goodness, big lunge. He was desperate to get past. I believe that is Brian Taylor, potentially. No, it's Jonathan Crane. My apologies. Yeah, this has turned into quite the dogfight between these Porsches. Ward has fallen back now as a result of that big checkup, but Klaus Wood not maximizing the exit of the turn there with the GR86 on the outside. Things might get closer again.
Yeah, and indeed, Declan Wood about a second back. These GRs are honestly, they're being very respectful to each other. I've got to say, it comes up to the faster class car to find their way around. But certainly, you know, you can keep the rule book as close as you want. Practically, you want to make sure you're out the way, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, you can go, oh, I have the right to be here. But if you then get run down, it's still not the result you're looking for. As we see there, that is going to be Michael Montello, I believe, that they're making their way past. My apologies, Anthony Montello. I got the wrong brother. As indeed, this Porsche battle is certainly starting to spice up, and it looks like Klaus Wood's going to try and make a move here on the inside turn one. Cooper Van Horn goes to cover it off, and indeed, it's a little bit too little, too late, ladies and gentlemen, as indeed they yet again go side by side on the exit.
Yeah, Van Horn mashing the throttle there to get the launch out of turn one and defend the inside into three. We get our good view of static cameras here, and it gives you a sense of the elevation change around this place too. Hungaroring is not the most hilly circuit in the world, but certainly provides a good amount of challenge with the little elevation change it has.
Yeah, it certainly does. And for me, I feel every racetrack needs to have some elevation change. Certainly, Road Atlanta, one of my favorite circuits, if not the favorite circuits, ladies and gentlemen, in Cadwell Park as well. Certainly not one we see here often on Pit Road Productions. It's not the most popular circuit by any means. It's actually my home circuit as well. Grew up about an hour from there, ladies and gentlemen. Only had the pleasure of visiting once, but certainly I do wish I'd had a chance to get more into motorsports back in the UK. But right now, though, I'm very much into this kind of motorsport. It's sim racing, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it is the WDCR SCCA Virtual Racing League, as we're watching Klaus Wood there try and find his way into P2 ahead of Cooper Van Horn. DJ Alessandrini leading the race about 12 seconds ahead.
Yeah, so big gains being made on for Alessandrini in the last few laps. Looking a bit further back, Adam Kovac chasing down Wally Heidecek, and the pace between these guys is looking well separated right now. Heidecek with a 147.8, playing a 146.9 from Adam Kovac, so some very good pace from him at the moment. But Heidecek ran the faster overall race lap earlier on, only by a 10th. It's going to be a close matchup here as the final lap has already begun for our leader, and it begins now for this fight for 6th.
Indeed, certainly if Adam Kovac wants to find his way by, he's going to have to make it really, really happen very quickly. Meanwhile, though, keep an eye on this. Yet again, these guys are trading positions. Indeed, it's Colin Denner and Michael Montello yet again side by side. That's one of the Porsches making its way by as well. I have a feeling they're going to be someone to keep an eye on. But we're going to head back to the Porsche battle indeed. As we got one of the GR86s. That's Paul Darling, ladies and gentlemen, leader of the GR86 class. Brent Schliekloff a little bit further behind him, about 3 seconds back. But right now, Cooper Van Horn, he's put on one hell of a defense. But is it going to be enough? He doesn't just have one. He has two Porsches right behind the number 6 and the number 1. Declan Ward, the hardest charger in the entire field. Is he going to be able to make it 8 positions? It's 9 positions, ladies and gentlemen, as the pressure is indeed ramping up.
Yeah, looks like Klaus Wood breaking a little bit too early for Declan Ward's tastes there, and he falls back once more through the S's. This is going to be an interesting fight. Oh no, a black flag for 3rd place in GR86 as well. Colin Denner, he was fighting well with Michael Montello, but it looks like he'll be descending down the order here once the checkered flag flies. Speaking of the checkered, DJ Alessandrini looks like he's about to take it, but maybe he'll cross the line in time to extend an extra lap. This is the white flag.
Oh.
One more lap to go. All right, it was pretty touch and go there, but there will be more distance here and more time to decide this battle.
Yeah, I'm definitely okay with that. That was literally down to the second, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, Declan Ward is going to be somebody who's going to be very happy about that. He's been right up behind these two. Absolutely challenging, but all 3 of them so evenly matched. Declan Ward there, despite being a harder charger, has only got about a 200-point advantage there. Klaus Wood goes a little bit wide there. Is this going to be the opportunity for the Cookie Monster Chips Ahoy machine of Declan Ward? Klaus Wood, though, still there in the middle of this pack. Cooper Van Horn ahead. Can he hold on? The number 7 trying to... Oh, no!
Oh, no! Yeah, contact there from Declan Ward, who's going to wait for him to get rolling again so he doesn't unfairly take the position. And that's going to be a sigh of relief for Cooper Van Horn, who was able to extend the gap as a result. Adam Kovac, meanwhile, making the move past Wally Heidecek there on the way out of turn 1. Nice change for position there. That's 6th place sorted for the short term. But the last lap of this race, it's DJ Alessandrini now out in front by nearly 15 seconds. Heidecek still pressuring Adam Kovac for 6th place. He wants that spot back. Klaus Wood and Declan Ward will be continuing their fight over 3rd now, with, it seems, Mike Leader making some gains on them in the last couple of laps. Another black flag for Jack Chrissy. It's been an absolutely horrendous run of luck there for Jack Chrissy, the man who started in 2nd place. But up the front, DJ Alessandrini takes victory in the Porsches. Heidecek has picked up a black flag right there. Oh man, it looks like track limits and the incident limit has been a huge point of contention today.
Yeah, as you can see there, that's not the pit lane. Oh dear, that's the pit lane, attaboy.
Unfortunately, because it's the checkered flag, it's going to be a time penalty. So Heidecek, I think, has just needlessly cost himself time from that. So he's going to be falling way down the order of the Porsche class. Matt Sayer, one of our last of the GR86s. Paul Darling has already taken victory up at the front of the GR86 pack. A fantastic drive, was under no pressure for the entire time. It's still between Anthony Montello and Colin Denner here on the run out of the final turn, but it's a short run to the start-finish line from there, and it looks like Montello's going to get it.
Yeah, definitely a few people there who are not going to be too happy with the iRacing series. Indeed, the check did bounce, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, Barney was there in incredible form, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely issuing out a few drive-through penalties. Certainly, Jack Chrissy there. It's such a shame because he was absolutely potent today, giving DJ Alessandrini a good run for his money. But I gotta say, what an absolutely fantastic battle again. Hungaroring, it was a good set of racing, but certainly Summit Point for me, the best one of the season so far.
Yes, that was an absolutely insane race last week. But for the results this week, DJ Alessandrini is your victor in the Porsche class. Still waiting on Matt Sayer to cross the line and make the results official. There he goes. And with that, the results should be finalized. So Alessandrini, 15.6 seconds, the gap for the win in the end. Cooper Van Horn finishing 2nd ahead of Klaus Wood and Declan Ward. Mike Leader rounding out the top 5, gaining 4 spots, but the hard charger was Ward with 7 positions gained. Adam Kovac finishes 6th ahead of Raul Iriarte. Jake King and Chris Heidemann on their own on track to almost round out the top 10. Top 10 rounded out by Richard Sawicki, who managed to get the position on results from Wally Heidecek, who had a black flag at the end. Jack Chrissy retiring just a lap or so from the end of the race thanks to his black flags.
Yeah, definitely a little bit unfortunate with the black flags coming out, but Paul Darling absolutely dominated today there in that GR86, able to get that win by almost 5 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, over Brent Schlinkloff. Indeed, Michael Montello, we got him seen there in the interview waiting room. He's there in 3rd, having a good battle with Colin Denner earlier, who actually got penalised for one of them black flags. Good news for Franz Hansen, though. He took 4th with Anthony Montello there in 5th. Colin Denner takes 6th with Alex Necran in 7th. Jonathan Crane in 8th. Ryan Miller in 9th. And indeed, Charles Miller rounding out your top 10.
In 11th place, Mark McLuey, Timothy Homan, Albert Go, and Sly Stafford there. Last finishes on the lead lap, Antonio Diaz and Matt Sayer, with Nelson Danielle, Matthew Kilmurray, and Brian Taylor finishing a lap down. Mark Labanche, I don't believe, took the start. So that's 19 GR86s seeing the checkered flag out of today's running. And I think it's time for us to have a chat to a couple of our drivers here. First to join us, DJ Alessandrini. Another victory on the cards for you, DJ, but you really had to work for it there versus Jack.
Yeah, well, I accidentally killed Jake right in the beginning. I think we were both trying to over-under, and I don't think both of us under works. And I tried to react to the placement of his car, but I met him at the apex. I couldn't get on the brakes soon enough, and I bumped him, so that one's on me. So sorry, Jake. You had good pace, and I murdered you. So not my proudest moment. I should have seen that he was also trying to over-under, and I just noticed it too late. But yeah, it was a crazy race against Jack. I'm meeting cars sideways at the apex. iRacing guy comes over the thing and says your car's damaged, and I'm going, oh my goodness, like, is the car going to have any pace? And it was okay. It lacked a little bit of front downforce. It understeered in right-handers, but it was only like a couple tenths off. And then it looks like Jack, his race kind of fell apart with incidents. And I knew they were going to be really tight here. The off tracks are plentiful, and we only get 14 of them. So it was tough. That was a tough race.
Yeah, you do need to be very careful around the Hungaroring. You will have a little more space next week at Imola, but the curbs are especially brutal at next week's track. It might play havoc with the front suspension of the Porsche.
It does. I've already done some laps there in the official series, and it's a bouncy boy. So get ready, everyone.
We'll see what next week brings when we head from Hungary to Italy. Congratulations on the win, DJ, and hopefully we'll chat to you again next week.
Yep. See you guys.
DJ Alessandrini taking victory in the Porsches there. Zippy, I understand you've caught up with Cooper Van Horn, who finished second.
Well, I've got to say, Cooper, definitely one of your stronger races this weekend. We're going to say it's a race weekend on a Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. I have the power of Doctor Strange in this case, and certainly not the charm skills, but indeed the ability to control time. We're going to go with that. What a save, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, Cooper Van Horn, what a save yourself. Get into a good battle there with Klaus Wood and indeed Declan Ward. Tell us a little bit about what that was like with your point of view, and indeed making it past the GR86 field.
Well, the GRs were definitely tough. I mean, I came past them in a lot of rough spots. I was keeping an eye on the relative box the whole race. I was kind of worried about my pace. I wasn't sure where quite I stood compared to, I think it was Klaus who finished behind me. Luckily for me, on the last lap, they got into it, the two behind me. So kind of worked out in my favor in the end.
Well, certainly you did indeed work really hard for that second place. Indeed, it's going to be a good points haul for yourself. But we're going to be heading to Imola next week. Definitely a more familiar track for certainly a lot of people. Myself, it's on the Princess approved track list. But how about you, Cooper? Is this going to be one where you think that the number 7, indeed the Van Horn machine, will be absolutely on fire with victory?
I hate to burst your bubble, but I'll actually be missing that race. I have a race in real life that weekend, so I will not be there, unfortunately.
Well, certainly we are indeed going to forgive Cooper Van Horn. If you're going to miss a WDCR SCCA Virtual Racing League event, a real race is a good one. Cooper, tell us a little bit about what you're going to be driving and indeed where you're going to be racing.
So I'm going to be driving a Barrel go-kart down at Trackhouse Motorplex. We're getting ready for the CKNA Spring Nationals with my team, Phoenix Racing. You know, great support for the guys. My engine builder, Travis Manning, gets me up there on the power. And yeah, we're just going to go there, test a few things out before kind of see how we stack up in the Nationals.
Well, certainly, ladies and gentlemen, we would love to hear some good news from Cooper Van Horn. I'd be happy to see him as a karting champion and indeed trying to find his way further up his motorsport ladder as well. Definitely do not underestimate kart drivers, ladies and gentlemen. They're incredibly potent, and certainly we can think of a few actually that have gone from karts to spec boards, from karts to radicals, all sorts, ladies and gentlemen, certainly. But we will be keeping an eye out for you. Certainly, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the driver of the number 7 machine and indeed second place here in the Porsche Cup. It's Cooper Van Horn.
Hey, yes.
Lovely stuff from Cooper today. And next up, we're going to catch up with our winner in GR86, Paul Darling. And regret to inform you, Paul, we weren't able to look at you much on the broadcast because you were so far ahead by the end. Your pace here was absolutely stellar.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Brent was able to stay with me for a good bit until the first round of the Porsches came through, and then once it was like 1.4 seconds, I think he was having a little bit of trouble with his tires, and then it just plateaued at 2.5, and I was just trying to keep it clean to the end from there.
Yeah, were you in any danger regarding off tracks? Because the incident limit was notorious here today. Quite a few cars getting black flags late on in the order. How many incidents did you finish on actually?
I think I only ended up with 6, but once Brent was right on my butt in the first couple laps there, I was just trying to save my tires, preserve the off tracks for later. Then once the P-Cups came through, I didn't need to use any of the off tracks, so it just ended up with 6, and I kept it pretty clean the whole time. But yeah, it was a real struggle here. That chicane was a nightmare.
Yeah, I'll bet, especially with the amount of body roll the GR86 has. Well, fantastic result for you, Paul. We appreciate you coming in, and hopefully you're back on the pace once again here at Imola next week.
Thank you very much, guys. Hopefully see you later in the season.
Yep, Paul Darling there winning by a country mile in GR86. And in third, it was Michael Montello, Zippy.
Well, I've got to say, Michael, definitely week after week, we're seeing some phenomenal battles from yourself. Not quite able to get it to the top step of the podium this week, or indeed the second step, but certainly I think you had the most fun in the GR86 field. Yourself and Colin Denner really going at it. Certainly tell us a little bit about the battle from your point of view.
Yeah, I was surprised to even be in third to begin with at the start of the race. I seemed to just kind of unlock something during qualifying that would put me way faster than I'd ever driven before. So it was nice to end up there, but it was pretty clear that the top two guys were way faster than me. And I was keeping up with them for a while, then I cooked my tires and very quickly fell back. And then it was just me and Colin again, and was trying to kind of do what he did to me on round one and, you know, maybe get him on the last lap. And I saw he was struggling and with incidents, and just tried to put him under as much pressure as I could. And before I had a chance to really go for a final lap move, I guess he got a penalty, and that just kind of made it a little bit easier for me. So all in all, pretty happy with the result.
Well, it may have made it a little bit easier, but certainly I feel like you lost your friend at that occasion. And certainly myself, I'm all about having the battles, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, with pressure, you can make diamonds. Certainly we've heard of that before. And don't get me wrong, I don't think you gave Colin Denner a diamond. And if you did, that's a discussion you guys need to have, and you guys do you, but certainly some good racing indeed. We're heading to Imola for the next week. Now, we asked Cooper Van Horn this question, how he felt about that track, and he proceeded to tell us he won't be there. So, Michael, we're going to try it again with you. Is Imola one of your Princess-approved track lists? Are we expecting to see another podium here for the number 65?
I would like to think that there might be another podium, but every time I've driven that track, I always have a hard time with it. And I seem to have a hard time with a lot of the FIA tracks that are a lot wider than the sort of US circuits that, you know, don't have all the runoff. So we'll see. I was pleasantly surprised with how tonight went. So you never know, I could be up there, but I won't be disappointed if I'm, you know, 4th or 5th or something like that. So I'm hopeful.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be hoping for you as well. Michael Montello, ladies and gentlemen, able to get third place today in the GR86 Cup. But before we let you go, we haven't asked a couple of the drivers this. Is there anybody else you'd like to share out for today's performance?
I would say Ken Hausiel, because if he didn't make the setups for this car, I would be way slower. So without him, there's a lot of us are not going to have the same success that we would. So I'll shout him out.
Well, fair play. We're also going to thank the people that Ken's babysitting tonight, because without a doubt, Ken would have been here and indeed challenging for them podiums as well. Certainly, Michael, you would give him a good run for his money. I've got no shadow of a doubt. But ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the driver of the number 65. An incredible battle, not just here this week, but indeed at Summit Point last week. It's Michael Montello.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome stuff from Michael Montello today, and from all of the drivers who joined us, as well as many of the ones who did not. That was another fantastic round, Zippy, and I'm looking forward to Imola next week.
Absolutely, certainly. It's one of those rounds where I'm going to want to be driving as well myself. We'll have to see. Maybe we'll have to see if we can borrow Rob here and let me loose on the track in a 911 Cup car at Imola. Certainly, it's on the Princess-approved track list. It's a fun combo, and I have a feeling with the Porsche especially, it doesn't really take to the curbs that well. It kind of pogos a little bit, and Imola, you got to use a lot of that curbs. I have a feeling we're going to see a few incidents there, and indeed, it's going to be a spicy race. But if you want to see more of that, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to wait till next week. Reese, do the honors.
Thanks very much, everybody, for watching here on Pit Road Productions. We recently passed 1,000 subscribers, so hooray, party poppers and bubbles. Fantastic stuff. We hope that you join us for next week's round at Imola. A huge thanks. Very nicely done, Zippy. Huge thanks to all of the partners and supporters of the WDCR SCCA Racing League that we thanked earlier in the broadcast, as well as to all the drivers and the organizers for putting this series on in the first place. Without them, we certainly wouldn't be here. I'm Reese Gardner, Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box here on Pit Road Productions. We'll see you all next time.